Welcome to Wise Money, the channel where intellect becomes income. If you're looking to improve your financial mindset, master your emotional responses to money, and develop the psychology of a high-performance investor or trader, you're in the right place. Today, we begin our full deep dive into Mark Douglas's groundbreaking book, Trading in the Zone. This video covers chapters 1 to 3, which lay the psychological foundation for consistent trading success. But fair warning, this isn't a how-to about patterns, setups, or indicators. This is about reprogramming your mind. Chapter 1, The Road to Consistency. Mark Douglas opens the book with a bold statement: when you genuinely accept the risks, you will be at peace with any outcome. This idea seems simple, but for most traders, it's life-changing. Why? Because most people enter trading with an illusion that if they learn the right strategy, they'll win all the time, that there's some magic setup or tool that guarantees profit, that losing means they're doing something wrong. But this is false. Douglas explains that trading is not about being right. It's about managing probabilities. Each trade has an uncertain outcome. Even the best setups fail sometimes. Douglas often compares trading to a coin flip. Let's say you flip a fair coin. You know the odds, 50-50. If heads means you win $2 and tails means you lose $1, you have a mathematical edge. Now, would you be emotionally devastated after a tails? No, you know your system works over time. But traders lose this perspective. After a loss, they question their strategy, themselves, the market. They take it personally. Ego in the game. Ego is the enemy. Most people attach their identity to trading outcomes. When they win, they feel brilliant. When they lose, they feel broken. Douglas says, our minds are not naturally equipped to function effectively in the trading environment. That's because we evolved to avoid danger, to seek comfort, to protect ourselves. But the market is inherently uncertain. It punishes hesitation and overconfidence alike. So what does consistency look like? According to Douglas, you don't flinch after a loss. You don't get overconfident after a win. You trust your system over your feelings. You've accepted that losses are part of the game, not something to be avoided or feared. You behave like a casino, managing risk, letting probabilities play out. Trading is not about prediction, it's about execution. This is the first mental transformation. Chapter 2. The Lure and Danger of Certainty. Humans are biologically wired to seek safety, predictability, and control. From our earliest days, we've needed to know, is this safe? Is this risky? What will happen next? But the market doesn't work that way. Douglas argues that trading is one of the few environments in life where there are no external rules, only probabilities. There's no boss, no structure, no promise of a paycheck. The market doesn't care about your feelings, plans, or predictions. It simply reacts to buy and sell pressure, often in chaotic, unpredictable ways. So what happens when a trader raised in a world of certainty enters a market of randomness? They try to control it, and that's when the real damage begins. The psychological trap, needing to know what happens next. Douglas introduces a powerful idea. Most traders mistakenly believe that to be successful, they need to know what's going to happen next. This belief creates a massive emotional burden. You overanalyze, you hesitate, you panic when things don't go as planned. Let's use a real-world scenario. Imagine a trader sees a textbook setup, a double bottom on support with volume confirmation. He enters the trade, but instead of going up, the price dips. Immediately, anxiety spikes. Did I make a mistake? Should I exit now? What if this is a trap? This panic isn't caused by the setup. It's caused by the belief that he should know what's going to happen. Douglas says, the best traders don't need to know what will happen next. Why? Because they've accepted the reality of probabilities. Probabilities versus predictions. Here's the difference. Prediction-based trading is fragile. It relies on being right. It's rooted in ego. Probability-based trading is resilient. It relies on execution and risk control. It's rooted in process. Professional traders understand that every setup, no matter how perfect, can fail. They aren't attached to the outcome of any one trade. Anything can happen, Douglas reminds us. The trader who accepts that truth gains a psychological edge because they're no longer fighting the randomness of the market. The dangerous illusion of control. Here's where things get even deeper. Douglas explains that many traders believe they can control the outcome if they just try hard enough. Add more indicators, use tighter stops, tweak their strategy endlessly. But this is a defense mechanism, a way to avoid the emotional discomfort of uncertainty. In reality, control is an illusion. You cannot control the market. You can only control your behavior. And until you fully accept that, your trading decisions will always be reactive, driven by emotion, not logic. Emotional consequences of seeking certainty. Let's look at what happens when traders chase certainty.
But this leads to a fall. 2. Paralysis after losses. A few losing trades and suddenly the same trader is frozen. They hesitate to enter good setups. They doubt their edge. Why? Because they were never comfortable with uncertainty. They were just addicted to being right. Douglas warns, as long as you are trying to be right, you will never learn to think in probabilities. Think like a casino. One of the most brilliant analogies Douglas uses is the casino model. Casinos don't care about the outcome of a single game. They know their edge works over thousands of plays. Every time someone plays blackjack, the casino has a statistical advantage, even if they lose a hand. The casino doesn't panic. It doesn't chase. It doesn't deviate. It just keeps executing. As traders, we must think the same way. Each trade is just a small event in a large sample size. Building mental neutrality. How do you shift from emotional trading to neutral execution? Detachment. Let go of the need to be right. Edge. Know your system has long-term expectancy. Risk management. Never risk more than you're emotionally prepared to lose. Journaling. After every trade, write what you felt. Your patterns will reveal themselves. Douglas emphasizes this. Trading requires the ability to be comfortable with not knowing. It's not about confidence in the outcome, it's about confidence in your process. So far, in Trading in the Zone, Mark Douglas has shown us that consistent trading comes not from strategy, but from psychology, from thinking in probabilities and detaching from the need to be right. But in Chapter 3, he introduces perhaps the most critical mindset shift in the entire book. The idea of complete personal responsibility in trading. Chapter 3. Taking responsibility. Most traders say they want to succeed. They study charts, buy courses, follow market news, they say the right things. But when trades go wrong, something happens. They start looking outward. The market faked me out. That news report came out of nowhere. My broker didn't fill my stop loss. This is human. It's natural to want to shift blame, but Douglas is clear. Until you take absolute responsibility for your trading, you will never become consistently successful. Not partial responsibility, not 80%, 100%. Every win, every loss, every hesitation, every impulse. Why this is so hard? Because full responsibility is uncomfortable. It forces you to confront the fact that you pulled the trigger. You ignored your rule. You changed your position size. You chased that breakout. You froze on that pullback. No one else made you do it. Even if the market tricked you, it was your interpretation of the market that led to the action. Douglas says, taking responsibility means believing that all your outcomes are self-generated, that your results are based on your own interpretation of market information and your own decisions. That belief is the gateway to consistency. Case study, the system breaker. Imagine a trader who spends months developing a strategy. It's backtested, it's logical, it has an edge. Then, one day, he aches a trade and it loses. Emotion takes over. Maybe the market's changed. Maybe this strategy doesn't work anymore. I'll just take this next trade on instinct. So he ignores his system and loses again. Then he blames the strategy, or the market, or manipulation. What he doesn't see is, the system didn't fail, he did. This is what Douglas means by self-generated outcomes. The trader didn't follow his own rules, yet blamed external forces. The vicious cycle of excuse-based trading. When you don't take full responsibility, you stay trapped in a loop, emotional trading. You chase outcomes, not process. Poor results. You overtrade, hesitate or break rules. Blame. You look to others, the market, the Fed, even mentors. No growth. Because nothing is your fault, nothing gets fixed. You become dependent on the external world, not in control of your actions. Douglas says, when you assume responsibility, you start taking control of your behavior instead of letting your behavior control you. Why blame is dangerous. Blaming gives temporary emotional relief. It feels good to say, the market was irrational. But blame robs you of progress. It convinces your brain, there's nothing I could have done, and that belief is fatal to growth. It stops you from asking the powerful questions like, why did I enter there? What rule did I break? What emotion was I feeling? Those questions are how pros improve, not by being perfect, but by being honest, building the responsibility muscle. Douglas doesn't just criticize, he teaches how to develop this mindset. Here are 5 practices. Pre-trade checklist. Before entering a trade, ask, does this meet my rules? Am I emotionally calm? Am I risking an amount I can emotionally tolerate? If the answer is no, you don't trade. Period. Post-trade journaling. After every trade, record what happened. What did I feel? Did I follow my rules? If I broke a rule, why? Patterns emerge. Fast. You'll see your weaknesses and your emotional habits. Embrace losses. Losses are not mistakes. They are expected. They are part of the game. They only become mistakes when you break your process. Shift focus from outcome to execution. Your job is not to make money on every trade. Your job is to make good decisions over time. Money follows mindset. Visualize randomness. Spend time truly internalizing this idea. Anything can happen. Not because the market is evil, but because the market is made up of millions of independent minds, all making decisions you can't predict. Your edge is not control, it's preparedness. The deepest truth in Chapter 3 Douglas's central argument is this: the moment you stop making excuses and start owning every result, you become powerful. Because when you're responsible, you can learn. When you learn, you improve. When you improve, you build consistency. That is how you become a trader in the zone. Closing reflections on Chapter 3. Success in trading has less to do with market knowledge and more to do with self-mastery. You are the variable, the risk manager, the executor, the decision maker. As long as you think something outside of you is responsible, you give away your edge. Take that power back. This is what Wise Money is here for, to help you develop that power. We don't just teach strategies, we teach mindset, behavior, and discipline. The real edge behind long-term wealth. In our next video, we'll explore chapters 4 to 6, where Douglas dives into the nature of fear, beliefs, and the unconscious habits that sabotage traders without them even knowing. If you found this valuable, subscribe, we're just getting started.